Hi, this is John from Chicago, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to bring you the BetaFPV HX100 Toothpick class quad. I'm doing a re-review of it with these to look at these different props that I have. I did my review about 2 weeks ago, and I'll attach the link down below, or there'll be a card at the end. You could click on that to see the full review. But basically, this quad, I ended up buying a second one because they were on a sale for $71, a clearance sale at RDQ, and I'm glad I picked it up. I really like this. It's definitely in my top 5 for toothpicks, and it's lightweight and it's maneuverable and it's fast. It has a good camera, so it's basically a great quad. And I think by putting on the Avan props, these 2.5-inch props are what they use on the Tiny Hawk Freestyle and also the Larva X. These props handle really good, and the main advantage on them, they're bulletproof. These are the Justin Davis from Drone Camp would say the skateboard wheels props. They'll hold up really great. You hit things and they just bounce off. These are fantastic props. They do pull a little bit more current. The RPM on these motors are a little higher. The KV is 8,000 versus on the Tiny Hawk and the Larva X they're 7,000. But I've had no problems in trying it over the last week. I'll show you the thrust test for all 3 sets of props on 2S and 3S, and then I'll do some lap speed testing on my playground track that you're seeing in the background. $310. $315. 300. HX100 2S thrust test. 228. 232. Test 2. 260. Test 3. 270. Okay, 2S tests, 48mm propellers, bump number 1. 185. Whoa. 187, 2S. 180. Here is a summary of the thrust tests that I just completed. The first column here is the 65mm 2-bladed props. The next column is the 48mm quad props, and then the third column is the Avan Rush, the 2.5-inch props. Under 3S, I have 2S and 3S. The 3S column, the Avan Rush definitely put out the most on the HX100. It put out 437 grams of thrust. Then the bi-bladed props were next at 387, and the smaller quad-bladed props were at 347 grams of thrust. For 2S, the one that put out the most thrust was the 2-bladed props. They put out 297 grams of thrust, and then the 48mm quad-bladed ones put out 249, and then the Avan Rush at 254. I wanted to compare this to see how this compared to other 1103 motor toothpicks that I had. I have the Larva X, and under 3S, that put out the most of any of them. That put out 479 grams of thrust. Then for 2S, it put out 358. And then the Tiny Hawk Freestyle put out 332, And then I have the brand new Tiny Hawk 2. I just got it yesterday, and I put it on the thrust bench, and it has 2-inch props, and it put out, it was amazing, 366 grams. It put out about 34 grams more than what the 2.5-inch Avan Rush Props do have. With the Tiny Hawk. So I'd like to try these 2-inch props on the HX100. I ordered 10 sets, and they should be in about a week. So when I get those in, I'll give those a shot. I think it's right now, it's definitely worthwhile moving up to these 2.5-inch Avan Rush Props. It puts out the most thrust of any of them on 3S. Wasn't overheating the motor, but it has been cool out. I think I wanted to test this when the weather gets hotter to make sure those motors stay cool and don't burn out. I like the way they handle, the way they hold up, and I think they're going to be a little bit faster. I can't really tell that yet. I only flew it once on my outdoor track. The winds have been 15 to 20 mile an hour this week, and my times on the track were 12 and 13-second laps, where with the 65mm props I was getting 11-second laps a couple weeks ago when the wind was down about 5 miles an hour, or 5 to 10, and then the 48-inch props were running about 12 seconds, a second slower than the 2-bladed props. But I think my times will be as quick, if not a little bit quicker, than what the 2-bladed props are, so I do recommend making that switch. This is John from Chicago. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave those below.